Hello friend. Welcome to Update. Today I will show you the top sex tourism countries in the world. Please subscribe us. In a nutshell, sex tourism means traveling to somewhere different for the sake of sexual activity. The World Tourism Organization defines sex tourism as trips organized from within the tourism sector, or from outside this sector but using its structures and networks, with the primary purpose of effecting a commercial sexual relationship by the tourist with residents at the destination. Sex tourism is often overlooked in discussions about tourism. People tend to keep their sex lives to themselves. For this reason, it is hard to establish the true scale of sex tourism around the world. This post aims to delve into this secret side of tourism, and introduce you to some of the top sex tourism countries worldwide. Number 10. Netherlands. For young people living in Europe, and particularly the UK, there is one destination that just about everyone has been to: Amsterdam. Amsterdam is a beautiful European city, famous for its canals, cyclists and chocolate box buildings. Not to mention the lax rules in terms of marijuana and, of course, its red light district. Amsterdam attracts over 4.63 million international tourists annually. And remarkably, sex tourism provides more than 5% of the Netherlands' GDP. The Netherlands is definitely one of the most famous sex tourism countries. People just don't always label it that way. But everyone has heard of the concept of the red light district, and there are an estimated 30,000 prostitutes across the Netherlands. There are some elements of the sex tourism industry in Amsterdam particularly that are tamer, a bit of fun. These include solo and couple sex shows in theaters as well as shops selling erotic books/DVDs and all manner of sex toys. Number 9. Gambia. Research shows that it is mostly men that partake in sex tourism, not a rash generalization, just fact. But in the Gambia this actually isn't true. This part of West Africa is really popular with female sex tourists, who hope to attract younger Gambian men. Local young men known as bumsters work on the streets of the famous Senegambia Strip, looking for the women who are already looking for them. There are no official statistics when it comes to sex tourism in the Gambia. But it's likely to be the case that a fair chunk of tourists engage in sexual activity when visiting the Smiling Coast. And it is mostly European women who travel to the Gambia, one of the world's top sex tourism countries, to seek out young black men. Female sex tourism differs slightly to the male-led sex tourism that tends to be popular in other parts of the world. Female sex tourists often look for a sense of intimacy and a bit of romance as well as physical sex. The female sex tourism industry is definitely smaller than its male counterpart, too. Number 8. Caribbean. The Caribbean is another part of the world where female sex tourism seems to be fairly popular. While the Gambia has its bumsters, areas of the Caribbean have their prostitutes, beach boys and sanky-pankies. But traditional male-led sex tourism is definitely more in favor here, with around 10,000 female sex workers across the Dominican Republic alone. The top sex tourism countries throughout the Caribbean are the Dominican Republic, Cuba, Jamaica, and Barbados. As the Dominican Republic is highly accessible from the USA and Europe, it is no surprise that it is a popular sex tourism destination. Sex work here is not legal, but not illegal in the words of the locals. It seems anything is possible if you pay enough money. Prostitution is normalized here due to the seasonal nature of many jobs within the hotel industry. Sex tourism in Cuba is common. Many locals will engage in sexual activities with the tourists who are looking for it, in exchange for help getting off the island. And society turns a blind eye to the typical prostitution that many men pay for when visiting Cuba. Jamaica also has a lot of sex tourism. It is particularly common in Kingston. Whilst illegal, it is widely tolerated. There are plenty of female prostitutes who solicit sex from their own homes or hotels, and massage parlors often act as a front for more illicit activities. Official newspapers even advertise these. Occasionally people will offer themselves up for sexual activities in exchange for cash in the hopes of it leading to a long-term relationship and, ultimately, a chance to get out of the country. Barbados is another of the Caribbean's top sex tourism countries. It is more low-key than in other countries, but Barbados does have a red light district in the Nelson Street area. Prostitution is illegal, but it still happens. Number 7. Thailand. In Thailand, statistics suggest that 70% of male visitors are sex tourists. Thai brides are something most people will have heard of. They work with various agencies, and it is a popular practice. Women will often leave Thailand with a male sex tourist, in order to send money home to their families. Female unemployment is a huge issue in Thailand, which is why this option appeals to so many. Prostitution is illegal in Thailand and has been since 1960. The responsibility is on the client, the sex tourist, rather than the sex worker. But club owners and those who run brothels are also criminally liable. However, this often gets overlooked as local authorities tend to have some sort of stake in prostitution. Thailand has various red light districts, and sex shows are common. These can be found in local go-go bars. Sex tourism in Thailand is commonly found in Bangkok and Pattaya, amongst other places.
Number 6. Cambodia. While prostitution is illegal in Cambodia, that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Go to any tourist area and you'll likely see evidence of it. Massage parlors and karaoke bars seem rampant with it, and street prostitution is popular too. Allegedly the prices are considerably lower than in Thailand. With over 600 adult entertainment venues across the country, Cambodia is definitely one of the world's top sex tourism countries. Unfortunately, Cambodia also seems to be the worst in terms of child sexual labor, and the law doesn't seem to clamp down on it hard enough. No. 5. Spain. To some, Spain is known as the brothel of Europe. Prostitution is rife across the country, especially in big cities like Madrid. There is no specific law prohibiting prostitution in Spain, though there are laws around pimping, for example. With statistics varying, it's hard to say how many sex workers are active in Spain. The numbers range from 70,000 to 400,000. Being such an accessible country for many within Europe, it is no surprise that it is one of the most popular sex tourism countries in the world. Flights and accommodation can be found dirt cheap, and you can drive to Spain from various other European countries. For sex tourists, it's almost too easy. Number 4. Brazil. Prostitution is actually legal in Brazil. Owning a brothel or employing sex works in other ways is not, however. Copacabana is a popular area for sex tourism in Brazil. Vila Mimosa in particular has plenty of bars and shops that, underneath the surface, are actually brothels. Brazil is also renowned for its popular sex hotels, where people can rent rooms by the hour. Vagrancy laws are used against sex workers, but Brazil is still one of the top sex tourism countries worldwide. It is just hidden away. No. 3. Philippines. The Philippines is another country where the mail-order bride trend is a big part of sex tourism. Male-led sex tourism is definitely most popular in the Philippines. And while prostitution is illegal, sex workers are employed as guest relations officers, singers, waitresses and more. Sex tourism is rife in the Philippines, if less so than the likes of Thailand and Cambodia. Number 2. Germany. Prostitution and even street prostitution is widespread and organized sector in Germany, and it is completely legal. The country has a long history of sexual tourism with organized prostitution in the country dating back to the 1200s AD. Interestingly, people join the flesh trade in Germany willingly, and there are advertisements and job offers through HR companies. Frauenhäuser, women's houses, have always been a common part of German history and were looked upon as places which helped curb public. Travelers to the Dominican Republic will see legal brothels, marriage parlors and prostitutes openly roaming around in many of the downtown areas of Santo Domingo and Puerto Plata. The Dominican Republic ranks 4th highest in the world among countries exporting large numbers of sex workers.